What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and it is now finally time for the most requested rebuild for the better part of a month that I've been seeing in the comments, the New Orleans Saints. Now, there's two big reasons why I've waited on the Saints. One is I don't like doing all the big rebuilding teams all at once, because then you're kind of left, if I'm doing all 32, with teams that don't really need a lot of rebuild. So I kind of did some topical, like we did the Chiefs before they were officially eliminated, but things didn't look great. I felt like that was the perfect time to rebuild the Chiefs. And some of these other teams that aren't strenuous, completely tear down the team type rebuilds. But the biggest reason why I waited for the Saints is really around the time people start saying, do a Saints rebuild, do a Saints rebuild. That is when they went ahead and announced Tyler Shough as their starting quarterback. And I think Shough was like a 60, 67, 68, somewhere in that range. He's been their starter for the better part of a month, and now Saint fans think they have their next guy. You know, I think we're at a spot that even the most conservative Saint fans are like, let's give Shough another year. Let's see what he looks like next year with the offseason and draft that hopefully we put some more weapons around him on the offensive side of the ball. I did a deep dive on Saints X, Saints Twitter, Saints Reddit, and the vibes, especially after last night's upset win for the Saints over the Panthers, which affected one of my parlays. Luckily, the Cowboys also blew it, and Jordan Love, being maybe the most overrated quarterback in the league, also threw a wrench into things. But Tyler Shough, I believe he's already single game broken passing records for rookies for the Saints. He has 2 straight come from behind victories, and it finally feels like maybe there's a quarterback in New Orleans this season that has a grasp of what Kellen Moore wants to do. So, if I did this rebuild a month ago, we would immediately not give Tyler Shough a chance, and we'd be moving on to the next guy. We'd be drafting a quarterback probably in 2026, maybe in 2027. Now, with the optimism around Tyler Shough, I mean, yes, he's a 25-year-old rookie. Yes, he was way back in the day supposed to be the successor for Justin Herbert at Oregon, and he's a rookie this year. Okay? It reminds me a little bit of the Pittsburgh Steelers rebuild we did where we drafted Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is supposed to be a placeholder quarterback. He was an old, 25, same kind of deal where you kind of have to hit the ground running. So there are a lot of things that are going against Tyler Shough. But the fact of the matter is, the age is probably the only thing that's hurting him right now. He's got and played well enough in real life to get a couple Madden rating updates. He's now a 73, which is pretty damn good, all things considered, for a rookie quarterback rating. I imagine that stacks up really good against the other rookie quarterbacks in this year's class, right? Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, those guys that weren't the first-round pick guys. 73 is pretty good. If he wasn't 25, you look at those stats, 90 throw power, so that's kind of the minimum throw power that you'd like to start with a quarterback. 85 medium accuracy, 86 short, 81 throw on the run, good speed and acceleration, 87 speed, 80. There is a lot to like here. It's just the fact of the matter is that you don't really have much grace period. But we're doing a 5-year rebuild. So we are literally from start to finish, if he is our quarterback, which I'm not going to hitch this entire rebuild on whether or not we can develop Tyler Shough. And for the most part, it's can we roll a dev trade and get him out that ugly normal dev trade. But there's an opportunity here that I think in real life, and I think if you're a Saint fan clicking on this video, you want him to see if he can become a franchise quarterback, even if it's just within the context of Madden franchise mode. So we're going to give them that opportunity, and I might not have done that if we rebuilt them a month earlier. The rest of the team, we're pretty much, I want to say we're in tank mode, but here you are out here winning games, and you guys got the Jets next week, so you might play yourself out of a pretty good pick. But, where we are right now, running back, we got Devin Neal, who was actually a stud at Kansas. You have him, Alvin Kamara. I don't think Alvin Kamara's done for the year yet. But, he's banged up. Hell of a year from Chris Olave. You're looking at skill position players. Olave's probably going to be the only guy that's going to be here the entirety of this rebuild, which is nothing uncommon for a Saints rebuild. And assuming he stays healthy, man, you're seeing it this year. I'm going to knock on wood here. But for a guy that's had some pretty serious head injuries and stuff like that, when he's out on the field, really damn good player. A thing I really like about the Saints from a rebuild standpoint is the offensive line. I don't like rebuilds, especially on rebuilds like this where it's a bad team that you don't want to have to invest anything crazy on the offensive line. You want to get sexy, fun draft picks. We have our tackles. I think Kelvin Banks and Fuaga can develop. Ruiz is on the right side of 30. So we might only need, we'll get a healthy Eric McCoy back next season at center. We may just need a guard, and then the offensive line is going to be in a really good spot. But With the running back room, Alvin Kamara is pretty much on the way out. You may only be able to view Olave as like our only skill position guy that can be developed and counted on. So that's going to be a lot of investment, probably at running back, wide receiver, and the tight end room is pretty old as well. We'll go to the defensive side of the ball. It's a mixed bag. You have your veterans like Davis, like Jordan, like Shough, like Justin Reed, but then you also have guys that could absolutely develop. I think Chase Young, for the context of 5-year rebuild, could be something there. Maybe second win to live out the potential of the player that he was as a rookie and out of college for Ohio State. Stutzman with the dev trade. Sanker as the dev trade. Kool-Aid McKinstry's best football is ahead of him. You got Riley here, 73 with the dev trade. Brian Brzee, if we can get him to finally like take his game to another level. There's a lot of potential here. So if we can kind of navigate these veterans and maybe retirements, I imagine there's a good shot that Cam Jordan and maybe Davis retire after this year. That'll free up some salary cap so we can get aggressive and find those replacements on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of work needs to be done, but I think we, at least like a closing summary, closing statement of how we're going to approach this Saints rebuild here, at least to close out year 1 going into year 2. I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to get a dev trade on Shough now, which sucks. He's going to put us behind the 8 ball. He'd be a 26 normal dev sophomore, but give him a full year to start next year. See if we can get a dev trade. That is the most top priority. That is a very good salary cap situation, $110 million. So looking at these players, I think we'll give Demario Davis a 1-year deal, assuming that he does not want to retire. We have so much freaking money. Blackman, we're probably fine there. I do like the Cookie Monster, but also I like 26, 27, 28, 2 years. He is a scheme fit. I mean, if he'll take that, sure. But the fact that, he's looking for a bigger number, I don't love that. Looking at everybody else, we do have Cam Jordan. I think this will be one. I just assume he's going to retire, so we'll see. If he doesn't retire, maybe we'll come back, hit him with a very respectable 1 year. You have this Smith guy that hit a 60-yarder to beat the Panthers. So with that, hell yeah, I think we have our kick. We'll come back. I think we have our kicker. I believe it's what this guy's straight up from Ireland or something like that. Well, this is kind of sick. I simmed one game where we get 5 skill point upgrades for the dev trade safety Jonas Sanker. I believe he's from Virginia. 75 tackles in a year, gets an insane upgrade. And as always, though, for house rules, because of these insane XPs, every player needs to be developed into a perfect scheme fit. So that's exactly what we'll do. That's going to bring him up to a 77 overall and counting. I'm not forcing any wins or losses, so I don't love the fact that schematically our team has lost straight up against the Jets and Titans there, which that sucks. Okay, in real life, Tyler Shough optimism has not been met here in Madden as we lose the final 3 games of the year. In 3 games, the Saints absolutely, they play like they did against the Panthers in real life, would win. For sure, they would beat the Jets and Titans. Falcons could be an interesting one. But there's also good news. It gives us the best pick possible for this first draft. So I guess on that front, good job, team. Statistically, at the end of the year, Tyler Shough, 2,100 yards, 11 touchdowns to 8 picks. We got also a couple. He's a dual threat, has some scrambling ability for sure. Across the board, not great numbers. A banged up Alvin Kamara. I think Devin Neal in his limited play was fine. Receiving, happy for Chris Olave, 97 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson was solid. Vele was just, let's be honest, that was a very bizarre trade to make with the Denver Broncos before the season. Defensively, a lot of tackles for Demario Davis. Would absolutely welcome back if he, doesn't decide to hang him up. Cam Jordan led the team in sacks. Same kind of deal. If he wants to come back for 1 more year, we will gladly resign him. Decent production out of Chase Young, but also want to see a lot better for sure. In the secondary, 3 picks, Kool-Aid McKinstry. We did get a contract extension figured out with the Cookie Monster, Alante Taylor as well. I think, though, there would have been a chance if you would have had Shough starting from the very beginning to get Offensive Rookie of the Year. But we have him and Neal making the short list. And it's a big one. We lose the Canadian Nathan Shepard. We lose the great, legendary Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, who will be an iconic Saint player forever, and Demario Davis all end up retiring. Legends. Legends of the game, but it is a perfect time now to usher in a new era of Saints football. We get an outstanding dev trade here for Chris Olave, bringing him back up to a superstar dev wide receiver, which is exactly the kind of weapons we need in place for Tyler Shough for his development. I'm going to decline the 5th-year option on Brian Breezy. Usually I do that because I'm going to instantly re-sign the player. We need to see a little bit more out of him to justify and feel good about giving him a nice contract extension. But was a big fan of his game at Clemson, and I think we can get some really good production out of him. So unfortunately, free agency sucks. When you have $125 million salary cap and you're bad as the Saints were, you'd love to be able to get a couple easy signings to raise the floor of your program. And that is unfortunately just not a reality. Like, there is not one single, like, perfect fit that I want to chase. So there's other ways to improve the team or add new depth, new players to the team. The New England Patriots offered me Kayshon Boutte and a 6th-round pick for Justin Reed. Boutte was supposedly like the next in line after Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase at LSU, and was insane as a freshman. Then some injuries and etc. But I kind of feel like there's a chance at, like, you know, there could be something here. Back in Louisiana, maybe Boutte, who's been hot and cold for the Patriots. Sometimes he looks great. Other games, he's a ghost. If they're really that interested in Justin Reed, a win-now player for the Patriots, who am I to just stick my nose up at that initial trade offer? So I'm going to do them one better. I think we have 2 players right now that are of the there's going to be no point in keeping them outside of just having veterans on the roster. I think Kyle Granderson, he was in real life at trade deadline talks, potential trade candidate, very productive pass rusher. And I think if you're the Patriots, those are 2 big-time upgrades for a team that wants to win now. And if they've decided that they want to keep Pop Douglas and maybe Kyle Williams as their wide receivers going forward with Stephon Diggs, and Boutte's kind of not going to get a contract extension, it makes sense for them to want to ship him out. So I'm going to, I always want to overpay when we're doing trades. And I looked at offers that we could get that were realistic. I think with Justin and Granderson, we were getting some trades. I was like, okay, no chance that would happen. But I could totally see this happening. 2 win now, very good win now. Probably not a lot of upside players in Reed and Granderson. And we're going to get Boutte. And we're going to get a 4th-round pick this year and a 3rd-round pick in 2 years' time once we hit the Madden generated classes. I was going to say, then what we could do in turn is, damn, he's going to go to the page. Oh, he picks us. We take half the money that we're paying Justin Reed, give it to Ronnie Hickman here, 24.78. Liked him in our Browns rebuild, developed into a real nice player. Okay, I'm liking it. I'm thinking we just did great business in 2 big moves for a very limited free agency class. So looking at the final mock draft here, Ruben Bain probably would be top of our list. I think when we look at our team needs right now, assuming we're not going quarterback, we need S tier would be left guard, but there's no left guard you get a pick with a top 5 pick. We need a pass rush to go on the other side of Chase Young, which would be Ruben Bain, which would be secondary. We scouted Matayo Uiagalelei. We have TJ Parker. Also, I scouted Peter Woods at D tackle. He could be a big-time get, plug and play. Him and Brzee in the middle, 2 Clemsons. Tigers going after it. So, I mean, we have options, but I think D-line is where we need to go at pick 5. But we're going to sit and wait. I'm not going to trade up. Ruben Bain goes 1. Caleb Downs at 2. Jordan Tyson at 4. Maybe a good year that we did get Kayshon Boutte. If we were trying to have our pick of the litter at wide receiver, we would not be able to do so. But with this selection, I mean, yes, now here's going to be hindsight. Sellers and Fernando Mendoza are still there. And we are going to be going with Tyler Shough for at least 1 more season. I think our run game could use a little bit of love. We did just use Jeremiah Love in our Chiefs rebuild. Go check that one out. But there are other running backs I think we certainly could take a look at targeting. Singleton, Haynes, Coleman, Claiborne, some studs for sure. Wide receiver, there's still a lot of value there, but I think with the Boutte trade, I like to see if we can get Boutte and Olave to be a good 1-2 punch for us. We need a guard, Ione from Penn State, maybe the only first-round caliber guard. Caden Green could also be an option with our high pick in the 2nd round. But looking on the defensive side of the ball, we have TJ Parker. Again, we have used him recently in a rebuild with the Detroit Lions. We put him and Hutchinson on the same side. Pretty terrifying. I like Uiagalelei. We have Howell, who I scouted out of Texas A&M. But we also have Peter Woods here, and I'm thinking that's probably going to need to be the play. I think Peter Woods. Oh, but I mean, I'm a big fan of Uiagalelei. But I'm a bigger fan in him than maybe most people. Oh, it's a tough call because we need both. But it's like, oh, we don't go there. Maybe we go Ole Miss, Avian Harris. Like, there's more value if you wait at D tackle than there is if you go pass rush now. Howell's an absolute dog. You know what? Screw it. We got to go. When you have a chance to go edge, I can find D tackles. You know? I can find, worst case, we can't find a D tackle this year. We can't find one next year. There's probably going to be a stud nose tackle once we get to our first Madden generated class that I could get wherever we're picking in the first round. When are we going to be able to get a legit round one edge rusher? I don't know when the next time that would be. So come on down. Matayo Uiagalelei, the absolute dog and leader of the Oregon Duck defense. And he ends up being a reach. Number 17 in true value at pick 5. But he's a big-time athlete, very well-rounded athlete, explosive athlete, 20 years old, very high ceiling with a dev trait. I like this pick. So when I looked at who was available in the second round, Sonny Styles, a very, very good linebacker from Ohio State, was tickling my fancy a little bit. I decided, you know what? He should be there in 5 picks. Psych, he's gone. So let's find the best selection here in the second round of pick number 5. Do we? Do we just make it happen? Do we just get the LSU Tiger? In case of there's not an obvious selection, do we just get the LSU Tiger? We do have Harris as well. I'm a big fan. We need a D tackle. I think Harris is a stud. B power, B tackle at 6'7", 320. 39 reps on the bench press. But I know the LSU fans are going to want to see what the hell we could do with Harold Perkins. You know what? I'll give you guys a little fan service. In case you don't love the Uiagalelei selection, I'll get at least one good LSU Tiger. Don't look at the value. Look at the athlete. Look at the dev trait. Look at the ceiling. Look at the potential. All right, not going to act like yet again I thought our top target was going to be there. And then the Titans, who don't need a nose tackle, draft Xavier Harris, who would have been a super easy run it up to the podium type selection for us. At pick 5 of the third round. That sucks. So we are now on the hunt yet again. So I'm going to view like Perkins, not the similar style of player, but I think from a positional standpoint, we had Demario Davis retire. I'd love to see Perkins, like, just, there's our next linebacker. There's a guy that could eventually develop into something like that. Then we got our Cam Jordan replacement with Matayo Uiagalelei. I don't necessarily say I'm going to go find like a Taysom Hill kind of guy if we're trying to get everybody that retired. But I mean, we don't need D tackle. We have Godchow for one more year and Brian Brzee in a contract year to decide whether or not he's the guy. Look at the names that are available. I mean, they're not bad names. Lee Hunter, Texas Tech, Tim Keene, Zane Durant, Graves, Orange, Corleone. There's certainly options here. If we want to look on the interior of the line, it doesn't look too shabby. What about running back, though? We need running back. I think running back with upside. Katron out. We got Hollywood Smothers. Ooh. I'm a fan. Not gonna lie. I'm one of these rebuilds. I want to get Damon Claiborne so bad from Wake Forest. Fastest. I think he's the fastest running back in this draft class. Well, we'll go with a weapon in Hollywood Smothers. 119 in true value at 69. Ooh, no dev trait. No. We'll go BPA here. We'll go grab Lee Hunter, who was certainly an option. Nose tackle, run stuffer. Very important piece of a Texas Tech defense that might be the best in the nation. And we get a pretty good value pick. 134 at 116. You know, for that third wide receiver, why not get Trey Lance's brother? He's been killing it at North Dakota State. We got Bryce Lance here. Physical adds a little bit of a different dimension to what we have, and that is an outstanding pick. 99 in true value at 133. There might have been a chance at a dev trait there. So take a look at our draft recap. Well, not brutal. Colin Wright from Stanford has some pretty good INT numbers. Lance, 70's not a bad rating for a 5th-round pick. Hunter was solid. Smothers was solid, but I'd say no dev trade on Smothers. Might have us looking for a running back sooner rather than later, maybe next season. Perkins, I didn't care about the rating. It's about the athlete, it's about the ceiling, how we're going to utilize them. Love that selection. And Uiagalelei, 76 dev trade. You could do better. You could also do a lot worse for a top 5 selection. I think for us, the big thing, the pivotal moment for the rest of this rebuild is that we passed on the pick of the litter at quarterback to go pass rush and continue to develop Tyler Shough. Will we look back year 4 of this rebuild at this draft and realize how big of a botch this was, or how much of a slam dunk it was? I got 4 bullseyes with Shough. Kind of killing it with Shough. Gold medal and potential dev trade increase with Tyler Shough. Another bullseye. It's just been the age. We're ageist against him. He has prototypical NFL size. His stats are outstanding for a rookie, now sophomore quarterback. It's just the ugly dev trait and the ugly age. Maybe we can change it with the gold medal here. So as we start year 2, I am going to go all hands on deck on the development of Tyler Shough, because we didn't get the dev trait increase last year. He's a 26-year-old, essentially first-year starter. So we have maxed out our quarterback training XP of 40%. We're also going to bring in Kirk Cousins for that mentorship tag, which is going to be even more XP boost. And then Jonathan Brooks is just sitting here in free agency. Got released off injury from the, I mean, it makes sense, right? Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard got paid. He's the odd man out. 23 dev trait running back. We'll take him. We dead ass with you for a minute, too. He's going to be our RB1. Still have Alvin Kamara. He'll be our 3rd down back, receiving back. But we might got our guy here for free. But just to get an idea where the XP is at, I got Jimmy G, who had a mentorship tag. We had a couple of roster spots open, and look, 1,600 for Tyler Shough. You can't say we're not giving him the best chance possible to be our franchise quarterback this rebuild. Love it. First practice, Jonathan Brooks off the streets, like, yep, I'm gonna actually remember like 3 years ago, I was the best running back prospect in the draft, and then I just unfortunately had like 3 season-ending injuries. He's healthy now, and he's ready to be an RB1. All right, so looking at our contracts, really want to get ahead if we're going with Jonathan Brooks as our starter. Like right now, this is where we're gonna get like insane value. So back up the Brinks truck and get an incredible deal. Which, I mean, hey, that's a motivated. If you get released and how we got treated by the Panthers in this rebuild scenario, why not go to a rival and kick the shit out of them twice a year if everything goes well? We got Olave. This is pretty much blank check territory. 5-year, 149. He's really our only good player, franchise player offensively. We don't make the trade for Kayshon Boutte without giving him an extension here, so I think we'll go 4-year, 40. That's a real good spot. Definitely want to try to get him off that normal dev trade. Brazil, I think there's still something worth developing there given our salary cap situation, so we'll give him a 3-year deal, lock him in for the rest of the rebuild. Outside of that, I think Godshaw's replaceable. I think maybe we do right by Kamara. Like if he wants to run it back for 1 year, sure. Hopefully he gets a mentorship tag. That'd be nice for Brooks' development, nice for Hollywood Smothers' development. Yeah, good business. Still have well over $100 million in salary cap. Please give me a good free agency class. Do you see the record? I see the record. We are 6. We're playing, last place schedule. We've lost to probably the only playoff team IRL that we've played so far. 6-1 is still 6-1. No one's really complaining too much about the Patriots in real life with their horrific schedule. You look at the Patriots schedule, pretty much looks like a top 10 mock draft. So 6-1 is awesome. Look at the ratings. I mean, we have the #1 points per game, which is 28's pretty good. Defense could definitely be better. But we have our first breakout scenario. Defensive back. So that could be literally anybody. We have all ascending players. And it is for Quincy Riley. The 2nd-year man. I think it's going to be pretty. I mean, he's a nickel. So 2 TFL. I mean, that's a little rich for a nickel corner. 2 TFL is kind of difficult. Let's go. I think, like 2+ 2+. Like, why would you go 2+? You can get 2+ pass deflections right here, and that cashes. Or you can just say, I also want 4 tackles. So, yeah, we'll go with this one. Come on! Oh, that's sick. That was the 0-6 Vikings that get their first win of the year. Can we at least get a silver lining of getting a Quincy Riley superstar dev? Yes! Yes! Sick! Now it's going to be on him to, like, maintain that, but that is a huge get for this secondary that has been trying to find their next big guy to take over for, like, Marshawn Lattimore. Kool-Aid McKinstry's a hell of a player, and getting Quincy Riley up to a superstar is unreal for this defense. So at the interview number 2, I mean, progress. That's all we needed to see. We go above 500. We have a couple green ratings, couple red ratings. It's a work in progress. This is the floor. We're getting in on the floor of our Saints team. Taking a look at the stats, Tyler Shough was... I don't know if he's going to get a dev trade off that. That's kind of where we're at. As a normal dev quarterback, maybe. But I think we're probably going to be dealing with another normal dev. But I mean, that's not a bad year. That is still in the realm of, like, we might still have something here. 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns. He's 14th and 16th. You know? And we played well enough at 9 and 8 that we're not going to be in a position to get like a Julian Saint or an Arch Manning. So we are in a little bit of purgatory, but yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Jonathan Brooks comes off the street, goes for 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. Love seeing that. Love getting ahead of that contract extension. Definitely want to cut out on some of those fumbles. Kamara here still contributes. We have on the receiving side, we did get 2,000-yard receivers. Kayshon Boutte, 90 catches, 1,300 yards, and 14 touchdowns. Olave, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. No one else 8, but as long as these are the 2 that are. And in Boutte's case, he's on a normal dev, so I think that should put him in line for a dev trade increase the same way Olave got one in year 1. So I'm very happy with that. Defensively, Stutzman emerges as a leader of the defense. So does Perkins as a rookie. Sanker and the Cookie Monster all go over 100 tackles. 11.5 sacks, Chase Young. 5.5, Breezy. Uiagalelei, that's a little disappointing for a top 5 pick, to be honest with you. Interception numbers, not bad, man. 3 picks for Riley, the new superstar. Kool-Aid with 3, Taylor with 3, Sanker with 3, Stutzman with 3. Let's go. And again, this is kind of where I'm at. Like, not a bad year at all. Maybe not an elite year. He did still come in. Tyler Shough, number 10 in MVP voting. Bizarre. We get Cesar Ruiz getting lineman of the year. And at the end of the year, we get a couple unfortunate retirements. Our mentorship cheese out the window. But more importantly, another Saint legend. Really probably the last holdover on our team. Alvin Kamara retires after 10 seasons. A real sick for Cesar Ruiz, who's now a superstar dev trade guard. We will certainly take that. 2 superstar devs in season, Ruiz and Riley at corner. But that doesn't mean we're not getting like dev trades at the wrong positions. The good news is we have Booty goes from normal up to a star dev. The bad news is we are still searching for a dev trade for Shough. Now, he is playing like an 87 overall quarterback, but that is because a massive plus 12 rating inflation. 5 of our own coaching boost. He has a crazy plus 7 just from his base morale. But, you know, there's no other way around it. Once those are gone, he is a 27 normal dev, 75 rated quarterback. You know, I'm going to say we got one more year. And if we can't get him off that normal dev trade in year 3, we may need to have a tough conversation about the quarterback position here. But I'd say I'm not going into this final realistic class with quarterback at the top of our list, but the opportunity presents itself. I've seen Arch Manning go top 5. I've seen Arch Manning fall into the 20s, fall to the first pick of the second round. If something like that, especially with Arch Manning, the Mannings, and New Orleans, maybe there could be something interesting there, but I'm certainly not going to force an issue or really like trade up and mortgage the future for that. Defensively, from a dev trade perspective, we had Perkins as a star dev, Uiagalelei as a star dev, and that is an updated class thing, because I feel like the last time we've used Perkins before in a rebuild, I think he was a superstar, but we're using a fresh new class. We get Ronnie Hickman, our loan free agency signing from a year ago. He goes off his normal dev up to a star. Jonas Sanker goes from a star up to a superstar, but look at this. What is going on? Quincy Riley is a superstar X Factor. How is he getting that? Like, I was like, all right, did he make the Pro Bowl or... No, they just gave it to him. And I mean, he had a solid, right? Like 3 picks. Ain't gonna complain about 81 tackles, 10 TF. I mean, maybe that has something to do with it. 81 tackles, 10 TFLs, 3 picks, 7 PBUs. That's a good year. Certainly not a year that I expect to go from superstar to an X Factor, but we need all the help we can get. All right, so we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Fuaga. We're going to get ahead of that contract and re-sign him next year. And as far as like in-house free agents, best of luck, everybody. Before looking at free agency or the draft, we have almost $150 million. So I'd love to be able just to solve the guard dilemma in free agency. But if not, I mean, next year's draft class is a generated class. I'm usually pretty good at drafting guards then. So, I mean, we won't overpay for a guard, but we need a left guard. I mean, we could use wide receiver 3. Could maybe get an upgrade at tight end. If there's maybe a high tier, like sometimes like a Sam Laporta or something like that might hit the open market. I guess if the opportunity presents itself, quarterback. But I really want to continue to try to give Shough the best chance. We need a D tackle. We probably, you know, again, saying kind of like could look for an upgrade at nickel corner. Like the linebackers, though. So, yeah, I'd say D tackle and left guard are like our big needs. Slot wide receiver and tight end, and then maybe a quarterback would be kind of secondary. So, with that being said, what do we got? At quarterback, nothing. At slot wide receiver, I mean, options, but nothing that makes me go like, that's what we need to do day one. Tight end, we got, I mean, I don't really know how much, you know, that's kind of like in the bubble of Juwan Johnson. Not really an upgrade. We need a guard badly. Joel Bitonio on a rental. Osiris Torrance. Maybe if he had a dev trade, I'd be interested. But, all right, nothing there. Defensively, D tackle. Great. Nothing really all. See, like, that's interesting, but there's no interest in our rate at $10 million a year is the starting point. It probably costs us $15 a year. Pretty pricey for a guy that we'd have to, like, bring in and still continue to develop. It's looking like we're getting another garbage free agency period, fellas. So, I'm keeping that in the back of the brain. We may need to make a trade at some point if free agency is not going to tank with. Oh, I'm a big Trenton Simpson fan. But we're good at linebacker. Stutzman's good. Harold Perkins is good. Secondary. We want to look for an upgrade at nickel. I mean, Riley Moss could probably do the job, but not really a huge discrepancy between him and Alontae Taylor, and there's zero interest there, so we'd have to overpay again. Just brutal. Absolute. $146 million. There's why. We go 9-8. It's like, what can we do? Right? It's not all on the quarterback. It's not all on Shough. I have a roster that has $150 million less than some other teams, some of the top Super Bowl contenders. Trying to compete with the Eagles, the Rams, the Packers. They don't have 150. They probably have $0 million of salary. So it's pretty frustrating. So take a look at the final mock draft. All right, well, Julian Saint's gone. Top quarterback off the board. Our big needs, again, guard. Not really worrying about that in the first round. We need a D tackle. There's some nice D tackles in this class. But... there they go, right there at 6'7". There's another quarterback gone. Let's keep on keeping on. We're in a real not great spot. We don't need tackle. We don't need... Trey Desgreed at tight end could make sense. Another LSU target. We've used him a couple times in rebuilds. I remember we used him in a Falcons rebuild, and him and Kyle Pitts were pretty insane for us. So, I mean, every rebuild is independent of one another, and I think because of LSU, and I think how special Trey Desgreed is as a player, that is certainly interesting. We did scout Bisontis at guard, and he's a legit round 1 guard. Looks like Arch Manning's falling out of the first round, which is something. I'm going to be honest. I was really expecting at least one of Christian Miller or Washington to be a little bit more attainable. Those are, I don't want to pay that price whatsoever to trade up. Might as well trade up for fucking Jeremiah Smith. So, I mean, there's a side of me that when you're using, like, the named players, maybe be aggressive and go trade up. But it's just, I would be it'd be gross to see what it would cost to move up to 6 or 7 just for, you know, like a solid round 1 D tackle. Not a top 5 guy. So we're going to stay put here at 16. I think the Arch Manning conversation could happen in the second round. Like, he's scouted as a 3-4 talent. I think this draft class generally kind of underrates him a little bit. But, I mean, there's other quarterbacks. Sorsby, Sam Levitt, Matayo, Maivia, DJ Lagway, who just announced a couple hours ago he's entering the portal for my beloved Florida Gators. We also have CJ Bailey down here, who has some value as a UDFA 3rd, 4th rounder quarterback. Mensa also from Duke's pretty good. But yeah, we got Trey'Dez Green. He's certainly, if he's the same rating that he was the last time, which I think this is still the same class, that's a very good pick. We got options at guard. I mean, if we go take Trey'Dez Green and we can get Umarov or Shough. I also scouted Knapp from Notre Dame here. One of those guys in the second round. That could be pretty shrewd business. Looking at the D tackles, we have David Stone. Eesh. None of those guys really are looking too impressive, if you ask me. Nickel corner upgrade. We got Keith Abney. I mean, there is definitely some value here. Brown and Abney are legit first-round prospects. But I'm thinking, man, looking at this, why not? If we're trying to make Shough, we got LSU. Everything's in line. And again, every rebuild is still somewhat independent of one another. I don't want to use like 4 rebuilds in a row. Fernando Mendoza. I think for the context of where we're at, trying to still figure out if we can get Shough our guy, why not get the 6'7", A catching traffic, B catching, A deep route running, 4'5'9", Trey'Dez Green at tight end, who's immediately going to be an upgrade over Juwan Johnson. Number 22 in true value, pick 16, and I'm pretty sure that dev trade is a super shot. Now we got in the second round. There was run-on quarterbacks, which is good in a way. It kind of protects us if you still want to see Shough, and there's no clearly, oh, he's setting up a quarterback controversy for a rebuild. But it would have been nice to have a Arch Manning or like Sam Levitt in particular still available at 48. We could have traded up, but after I saw the first couple picks, I was like, all right, maybe they would fall to us. Like I was like, all right, the Browns probably, I assumed, I made an ass out of you and me. Browns probably didn't need a quarterback. They probably got one last year. I guess they didn't. Arch Manning going to Miami. Interesting fit. So now we are stuck here holding the bag. Coy Parrish would be a pretty awesome pick. From the quarterbacks, we still have Maivia, Lagway. I mean, I'm very interested in CJ Bailey, honestly. That might be a late round pick for us, just to have another option. So for our needs, we're looking at guard still. We still got a double here. Umarov, first, second round, Shough, and Knapp. Now it's like, which one has a dev trait? Do all 3 of them have dev traits? So Knapp has B pass block, A run block. Let's treat it like this is a generated player. I love the athleticism. First in the 40-yard dash. Bench press is not too bad. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle. Love the athleticism. And he's a scheme fit. House rules. You got to have scheme fits, especially on the offensive line, or you're just going to be pissing away your points. And Umarov, C pass block. He's straight up power. So I think that needs to be our selection here. Unless there's like something else that makes a whole lot of sense. There's nothing there at D tackle, which is another need. We're good at linebacker, nickel corner. I do like height. We got Snowden here, kind of like the gadget two-way player, plays wide receiver, plays corner from Utah. That could be a fun pick later on. But I'm thinking here we go and grab a guard. Why not? It'd be better to wait a year and get a generated player that probably for sure has a dev trait, but the value is undeniable. 34 in true value at 48, and we get a dev trait. Let's go. Oh, we do need a D tackle, and we've been showing a lot of love to the state of Mississippi. So we have Eccles. He's a very impressive player for Ole Miss. A lot of hype right now. One of the better D tackles in the SEC. Not bad value. 92 in true value at pick 80. No dev trait. Limited ceiling. Not going to mess around here, man, the 4th round. I like the value of CJ Bailey. 6'6", 210, 114, 112. Perfect time to go get him. No dev trait, so it's no quarterback controversy. We're stuck with the same limited ceiling quarterback that the issue that we had before this pick. So take a look at our draft recap. Not bad. You know, we get Williams Winery, who's former top 100 recruit, 68 normal. CJ Bailey, 69 normal. Eccles is a 70 in the 3rd round. Not brutal for no dev traits. We get Knapp, 73 dev trait. He will be a day 1 start for us at left guard, which I don't think is going to change the scheme fit up any. I don't think there's any offensive line that had, you know, different scheme fits for the interior linemen. Sometimes you might get at tackle. So that should stay in line, which it... What? Okay, no, it does. Good. And then Trey Green, 74 rated. Day one started for us at tight end. But, again, Bailey at quarterback certainly is not going to be like, well, we have a break glass in case of emergency option, but at least it gives us something in case Shough does not take that next step here in year 3. And maybe free agency sucks next year. Maybe there's no quarterbacks in the generated draft. We have at least something we could potentially pivot to with CJ Bailey. So now we're to year 3, and again, we haven't had a lot of clarity whether or not what we're doing is going to yield a Super Bowl in 5 years or not. We are 4-4. Looking at our rankings, they're all, you know, reasonable. If Shough is kind of the big question mark, we're almost top 5 in passing yards a game, and everything else is like relatively in the teens. So, you know, at 4-4, no idea. We could make the playoffs, we could miss the playoffs. We're kind of on track for that. Looking at our contracts, salary cap's in an outstanding spot, so we can pretty much keep any and everybody. We'll start here 67 for Kool-Aid McKinstry. We have the reigning defending lineman of the year in Ruiz. I love it only being a 2-year deal because, honestly, at this point, we need to be prepared that if this rebuild doesn't go in 5 years, it will be one that we revisit once we've done all 32 teams as an unsuccessful rebuild, even though we don't want to think overly negatively right now. But let's see, 2-year 18, probably 2-year 20. We'll get Ruiz signed, and I think let's absolutely do that. We have Fuaga at right tackle. Let's look here, 5-year. Again, we're probably $1 million or $2 million off on each one of those contracts. Chase Young has been solid. I think this might be at 28, soon to be 29. Let's see where he's at the end of the year. Double-digit sacks. I'd be pretty interested. We have Eric McCoy on a 3. Man. Okay. Getting kind of pressed here. But I don't think we're super far away. I'll leave it at that. I think we can get our O-line dogs re-signed. McCoy will get done. Fuaga and Ruiz will get done. Our 2 very impressive wins in a row. We beat the Eagles. We beat the Jags. In our win of the Jags, 34-24, we get a Chris Olave, 10-catch, $169, hat-trick of touchdowns, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. At the end of year number 3, we might have a little bit of a lifeline in the Tyler Shough Saints dream scenario here. As the offense picked it up, we finished with the number 2 offense in terms of points per game, a top 5 passing yard offense. Rush game was not best. Defense, middle of the mall overall. The number 1 pass defense, which usually that's probably the most difficult out of all those ratings to get a green, let alone be number 1. As we see Jonas Sanker right there, 5 interceptions. He's been a great safety. Didn't really have any standout years for anybody. Below that, Shough firmly played like a top 5 quarterback. 4th in yards, 3rd in touchdowns. Now, 3rd in touchdowns and only having 34 means it's a down year across the board for quarterbacks. But it still is what it is, which means on the, I'll give maybe like a 5% chance, 12 picks hurts his chance of going up dev trade. 12 picks is a lot. But I think we're going to get at least a star dev trade here, which it's, you know, it's now or never for his growth and developments. But that happens, I think I'm ready to commit. If he somehow, maybe it is due to the 12 interceptions, does not go up dev trade, I think we have to find a new quarterback this offseason. Running the ball, solid year to Jonathan Brooks, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. Passing, we had 2,000-yard receivers. Chris Olave over 100 catches, 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns. We had 1,006 from Butte, 8 and 5 from Trey Green, our big first-round pick, who, surprise, is a superstar dev, and maybe he was a little bit of garnish, that little bit of missing piece for our passing offense to take its game to the next level. Anytime you add a 6'7" superstar tight end, maybe, just maybe, you'll get a little bit more, and he'll get better production than the tight ends we've had in years past, and he'll make things easier for our wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Defensively, got a lot of tackles up and down the board. 9.5 sacks for Lee Hunter. What? 9 from Uiagalelei. I'll take that after a down year 1. Young with 8. 3.5 for Brian Breezy. But on the defensive side of the ball, man, we've been getting really, really good INT numbers in this rebuild with this Saints playbook. 2 picks for Ronnie Hippin. 4 for Harold Perkins over 100 tackles. 4 for Stutzman over 100 tackles. And Sanker. That's going to be a cakewalk for DB of the year. Shough gets back-to-back years on the MVP list, but he's way at the bottom at number 10. Unfortunately, Trey Green, a runner-up for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but as a superstar dev, I'm not going to get too greedy in that department. Wow. I thought Which we go this whole year. Not a single award winner for the Saints. Bunch of second place, bunch of bridesmaids. But at least we get our first taste at the playoffs, and it's a team that barely finished above 500. We get the 9-8 Chicago Bears, who can run the football well, play pretty good defense. They have the worst passing yards. The worst passing yards. Keep that in mind for what we're about to watch on the sim. They also have the lowest points per game in the NFC, number 31. So, with our number 1 ranked pass defense, their worst pass offense, watch somehow, some way. If we end up losing, like Caleb Williams goes for 300 yards or something crazy like that, then it'll just let you know Madden is just completely random. It's like, whose line is it anyways? Ratings and stats are made up. It doesn't make sense. Or, this game plays as if we are a terrible matchup for them. We should win. We should get our first playoff win of the Shough era. Hey, come on, baby. Superdome is packed. And I will admit, you know, I'm just as an NFC fan, when the Saints are good, they have a incredible home field advantage. One of the best environments in the league when they're good. Unfortunately, haven't been good for a little bit. But I think back to those like peak Drew Brees years, road games in the Superdome were never fun. So let's see what we can do, man. Can Tyler Shough? Oh, he does! He leads a game-winning drive, low scoring. But we know firsthand, Madden 26, it's all about good defense. Good defense in the sim will win more often than not. And am I annoyed that Caleb Williams outdueled our quarterback? Maybe a little bit, given the context of what we're good at and what they're good at. But Tyler Shough moved the football, was efficient, no turnovers. Got a rushing touch. Nice. Jalen Polk, forgotten wide receiver here. They made that trade to get him from, the Patriots? He was like a high-round pick from the Patriots. Stutzman was great, 13 tackles, making plays all over the field. Uiagalelei, 2 TFL sack, and 2 of them. Sack and a half, Young, Breezy with a sack. No turnovers, only 1 PBU. A win's a win. I will take that. We won't get greedy. And we want to make a championship game. We got to continue to run through the NFC North. We get the Detroit Lions this time, battle of 11-6. They have a better roster. They have a better defense. We have a better offense. Advantage. Detroit. We've been going to this game as underdogs for sure, especially on the road at Ford Field. But we got Shough. Yeah, they got a fancy intro, but they don't have Shough. They got Goff, who's probably kind of like a Shough. But we will see. Opening drive, we could not score. Detroit scores twice in a row. And we are not an offense that is built to come from behind a whole lot, even though we do score a lot of points. I think a lot of that was beating up on bad teams, not winning a lot of shootouts. But there we go. Nice little touchdown, 2-point conversion. It is a 3-point game in the 4th quarter. Oh, that's a huge touchdown. But look, we march right down the field. We have it as a 3-point game. Defense cannot get us the football back. Slow start. That needs to go in the offense. But overall, I am not pissed off at them. Give you a chance, score, and then they allow them to have a 7-minute drive to kill the game off. Tyler Shough adds to the resume. He was solid, man. He played more than well enough for us to win this game and go to the NFC Championship game. 230 yards, 71%, 2 touchdowns, did have a turnover, so did Goff. Look at that run game, non-complimentary, so Shough had to do the whole goddamn thing himself. I don't know why Jalen Polk is our wide receiver 3, who's not in the slot, is popping off here, but weird. I'm gonna say maybe in highlight that's kind of a reason why we did not win this game, is we couldn't get our big dogs involved. Shout out Hickman with the turnover. But hey, 1-1 in your first playoff run, not the end of the world. It's year 3. We still have year 4 and year 5 to kind of find those missing. We still have an insane amount of salary cap to make this team better. I'm looking forward to it. I can probably confidently say with $192 million salary cap, we've never had more at our disposal in any other rebuild we've done. And that's $192 million, and we were 2 wins away from the Super Bowl. So look at our offense. We did get the depth trade role for Tyler Shough, which is gigantic. That is what we need, especially at 28. You still got at least one more solid year. Well, I guess he's getting hit this year. Well, I thought one more solid year till the regression hits. -9 to the regression. Brutal. I mean, he was like an 81. We lose -2 already. Third year in the league. It's the gamble we stuck with. We knew things were going to get weird probably with Shough near the end. That is brutal regression to get hit, but we saw enough. We saw enough to, I mean, it completely took over this rebuild at this point. Like, I thought in my head when we rebuild the Saints, didn't really know about Shough, that's like, all right, we're going to have a couple big name players come in. We're going to have a bunch of, top 5 picks. And we had one top 5 pick in a situation in a class that was not great for our strength. We ended up getting Uiagalelei, which is not a super household name, but if you watch college football, you're aware. He's one of the better pass rushers in the league. And then Shough year 2 was like good enough that we didn't have a good pick, a premier pick to go get anybody. And then now he's just like, yes, he looks great, but he has a plus 11 boost right now. That's going to be completely erased week 1 of year number 4. Okay. Well, as it relates to the offense, we did get Trades Green gets a dev trade. He didn't even win offensive rookie there. It's just straight off his production at tight end, so that's awesome. The bad news on the offense is Ruiz turned down our contract extension, last year's offensive lineman of the year, and he also regressed a point. So it's like, do we keep a superstar lineman just because, or we'd have to franchise tag him? Or do we try to just draft another guard? Now that we're in the Madden generated classes, I could probably find a decent start at some point there. We got Olave as the X factor. So, I mean, generally fine with the offense. On the defensive side of the ball, we have Perkins and Stutzman both go from star up to a superstar. Lee Hunter, out of nowhere, who ends up leading our team in sacks, gets from normal up to a star. That certainly helps on the defensive line. And I believe Sanker, yeah, now as a superstar X factor, he had a hell of a year. That is absolutely deserved. And I still think, without even looking at the other guy's stats, it should have been a layup for him to get DB of the year. So looking at our contract, we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Kelvin Banks to get ahead of that contract. But look at this. We have Ruiz. We'd have to franchise tag him $25 million. Simply cannot do that. And, like, Chase Young's been solid, but I'd love to think, like, maybe there's going to be a big-time edge rush role in free agency that's going to be better than Chase Young. We can put that money elsewhere. So I think that's what we need to do. Alontae Taylor's been a solid starter for us. Scheme fit as well. But another situation, I mean, he's only looking for a 1 year. And he wants to stay, and it gives us a little bit of cover in case there's no other DB we can get. So we'll throw him a 1-year deal. Here's what we need. We need a guard for sure. We need maybe a wide receiver 3. We need potentially an upgrade over Alontae Taylor at nickel corner. An edge rusher. I mean, we got options. Okay. Let's see what kind of role we get in free agency. $200 million of cap. Ooh, certainly an upgrade available at corner. And usually when Cooper Jean hits free agency, he's like a star dev, not an X factor. Need a pass rusher. We got Daniil Hunt. We got rentals. I mean, Nolan Smith, that's maybe a little bit better than a rental. $21 million, though. That is... I mean, there's only $6 million more than what Chase Young wanted. Okay. I'm in. No, I'm in. I'll bite. We'll see. Not a lot of interest, so we might not have the best chance, but we'll put our name into the mix there. We need a guard. Pooney. That could work. Suamadia. No, let's go Pooney. We just have so much money. Usually I'd be like, it's expensive. We need to spend our money. So we'll go Dominic Pooney. That he just walks in, makes our team better. Looking for a slot wide receiver. Troy Franklin. Could probably make wide receiver maybe our first round pick option here if we need to. Depending on how free agency goes. And, I mean, I don't really... just because I've signed Cooper Jean a couple times. That's a splash signing. Do I really want to wait until, Okay. We get Pooh. That's good. We get a guy. We miss out on Mr. Nolan Smith. We could always go Rashawn Gary as an option, potentially. Daniil Hunter's still there. I mean, he's not, we have been kind of hoarding LSU Tigers. All right. Good business. All right, then for our focus scouts, got a couple wideouts. This guy looks interesting as well. We're looking for a nickel corner. He's a scheme fit Cordell Aiken A-man B-zone coverage, so we will get a little peeky too. All right, well, we got 2 absolute slam dunks for our 2 wideouts. Not gonna lie, kind of just went for the best-looking scheme fits. That's picking in the 20s, but there is a good chance that Cassis at a USC scheme fit round 1 pick, who I fully scouted just because, oh, I don't know, A-catching is a pretty good giveaway. Then we have Bernal, who has, also some A attributes and a little bit faster, a little bit better of an athlete. He looks pretty good. And then at corner, maybe top 5. All right, we have options. See where these guys are going, man. We got our scouting. Do we have a chance at getting both? Any? Like, is one of these guys falling out of the first round? So Aiken's going at 15. He gone. Okay, so I mean we'll have. And I mean, Alontae Taylor can be fine as our corner 3. So we're going to have a pick of the litter of the 2 first-round wideouts. Love that. So at pick 27 in the first round, let's see if we can decipher who's going to be the better of the 2. Oh, man. I was not thinking that there should be this much of a free-for-all. I would have done a little bit more due diligence. But, I mean, you're not going to, there's a chance maybe one of these guys is top 5. But we did a good job here. We have Cassis, who's A-catching traffic. Elite change of direction and acceleration is not too bad. Or we have Mr. Bernal out of Washington. Just a little bit better of an athlete. Still has that elite acceleration. I mean, I didn't think Cass is going to be available. So I think we just kind of go with this guy right now. Come on. Be a stud. I mean, not bad. 21 true value. Pick 27. Got ourselves a dev trait. Got ourselves, maybe not straight line speed, but everything else looks pretty good. Good acceleration. Good change of direction. Put him in the slot. All right, we only have 2 linebackers, so we're going to look at Cedric Reynolds, who has elite acceleration and speed for the position. I think we're going to be relatively happy. 72 in true value, so it's kind of right in line there, but unfortunately, we chase a guy with probably a decent rating, limited ceiling with no dev trade. Neil Hunter is not getting any younger. We have this guy. I mean, first team all named Justice Kirkpatrick. Day 3 pick, first in the 40-yard dash. B finesse move, speed rush archetype. I think we might have 109 at 86 again. Nice, solid value. No dev trade. But can maybe learn a thing or two as an understudy of Daniil Hunter. Sometimes there's just clear and obvious flex you got to go get. UDFA or not, this is the nose tackle cheese player. If we want to get one, 41 reps. Look at the 3-cone, look at the 20-yard shuttle. Just a insane build of a player. And even with Lee Hunter popping off, I think when you find the diamond in the rough, you got to go get it. You can't just keep waiting and waiting. 28 in true value at 91. We get a dev trade. Very nice selection. And then here goes for lineman here. We got a double B pass block, run block guard. That's projected UDFA. Ends up being a top 75 player, 69 at 123. And we get a dev trade. I'll say all in all, very, very good class. You get a lot of picks, and only one was under a 70 rated. Maybe not the amount of dev traits that we'd love to see. We got a 71 long snapper, a 70 normal corner in the 7th round. He was actually a fairly easy selection. We got a 74 punter, no dev trait, not generational. 68 tight end, Henderson 73 the dev trait, Canty 75 the dev trait, Kirkpatrick 70 normal, Reynolds 73 normal. Cassis, who likely will start at slot, or, that Jalen Polk role, 76 with a dev trait. So all in all, especially picking at 27 and not having like a top tier pick, very, very happy with this class across the board. But I mean, we didn't get any like #1 player in true value or anything like that. But they were, all the good guys were already off the board. So I think with the pick that we had, I mean, Costa there, 77 wideout, we did miss. Cologne, a 77 wideout. I mean, it's kind of same area code is what we're dealing with. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I do want to see maybe this guy, though, Bernal. He was the other wideout. Ooh, dev trait that I was considering. Please just be a star, and then we'll just keep on keeping on. Mr. Bernal, he is okay, we can live with that. So going into year 4 of this rebuild, I think for reflection of where we started in year 1, really good. Really happy with where we're at. I mean, we got a great role of Jonathan Brooks being released, and we're able to get him, develop him into an RB1. We've got Olave back up to an X Factor. We trade for Booty LSU. Got a lot of strong LSU vibes as well. I think this reveal, maybe we didn't get the flashy names that we want, but if you're watching this as a Saints fan, a lot of Saints fans are probably LSU Tiger fans. We did get a lot of LSU guys, so I hope you do enjoy that. Green's been a beast. I think really the only down thing on the offensive side of the ball, outside of obviously, the gamble with Shough and taking a minute for him to get a dev trait. Now he's 28. Pretty close to probably his ceiling. Is he going to be the guy year 4, year 5 to bring this team to a Super Bowl? Well, we saw we can win playoff games. We saw last year had a slight breakout in terms of offensive production. If we can cut down on those interceptions and keep, 35, 36 passing touchdowns again here this year, should be fine. But I do think, this is a realistic rebuild. I think realistically, what we've seen out of Tyler Shough, probably going to give him a chance. And that's exactly what we did, and he's kind of kept getting his chances, and I think deservedly got his chances. But offensively, Fuaga is probably the only bummer with the house rule of having to upgrade every player into a scheme fit. It's kind of the inverse of Banks, who's always been a perfect scheme fit. So Fuaga here, we've just been dumping our points in the agile archetype. And if we were just straight up going BPA, he'd probably be closer to an 85 right now. But still, I'm not going to complain. That is a very, very good offensive line with the addition of Pooney in free agency. And I'd like to think that's probably a top 10 offense in the league. Defensively, pretty much more the same. I'm really happy. We got the defensive line here. We add Canty, who's going to be a nice player. Our pass rushers, I'd love to see Uiagalelei and Hunter pop off a little bit. I'd love to see Uiagalelei pop off enough where he gets a dev trait. Our linebackers, Perkins and Stutzman, are great. Sanker's been incredible, probably best player on this defense. Riley developing into an X factor real early in the rebuild was kind of bizarre. Kool-Aid's developed into a nice player. This is probably, I think we're very much top 10 offense, top 10 defense. We're probably closer to 10 than we are 5 on both sides of the ball. But that's good enough to get you into the playoffs here in year 4. And once you get your ticket to the lottery, who knows? You might be able to get hot and go on a run. All right, so now we are midway point of year 4. 4-2, good record. Good record for sure. Kind of weird that, last year it was our pass offense that was good. This year it's not. Everything else is. Don't know why, but that's where we're at. So let's look at the contracts here. The best thing about this whole rebuild is we've had so much money that anytime we want to keep anybody, we can get it done. Even though we've had a lot of players that have very little interest in staying here in Orleans. So with Sanker, we'll come back to the table for sure. Riley, that's a homegrown X Factor, $41 million. Very easy contract to hand out. Stutzman's developed pretty nice as well. $50 million, a little pricey for a linebacker, but he's earned it. He's been not only just, padding his stats with tackles, he's been getting a lot of turnovers, interceptions, and TFLs. We'll get Banks re-signed as well. That'll be a wait and see. 28th passing offense. Get me into the teens and we'll talk about it come year end. So at the end of year number 4, we go 11-6, the same record that we had a year ago. It still is good enough to get us our second straight NFC South title. We must have had, I actually think we swept the Falcons 2-0 on the year, so that's impressive. I did say I wanted Shough to get into the teens passing yards to talk about contract extension. You know what? Credit where credit's due. We are in the teens, so we will certainly talk about that when the offseason starts. Plus, going into year 5, what are the odds that there could be a better quarterback than him? Probably not. So, yeah, let's take a look here at our stats. Shough was, that's a tough sell for paying $100 million. But he did cut down on his picks. It's one of those things, would I rather him have 4 more touchdowns, 33, 34 touchdowns, which is kind of that's pretty good, and have 12 picks again, or 29, 4 interceptions, cut his picks down, 50% at least, and he did get another 4 rushing touchdowns, so it's 33 touchdowns. That's good. That's good. No matter what way you cut it, that's good. It's never going to be MVP. It's never going to be he's the reason why we probably win. But if he can kind of point guard this team to a title, I think there's totally a possibility that could still happen. Brooks was solid. We did not get 2,000-yard receivers. Everything we got. Olave 8, though. Boutte was still solid. Green was solid as well. Cassis, the rookie, was complimentary. And he is a... I was hoping that was loading up a better dev trait than that. Only a star. Defensively, Stutzman continues to just be an absolute tackle machine. On the sacks front, our best. Whoa! The D tackles, 11.5 breezy. Nice. Uiagalelei, 9.5. Can live with that. Daniil Hunter, 6.5. I mean, that's disappointing, but he's only here on a 1-year rental. But 12.5 from a rookie nose tackle. Miles Canty might have ran away with Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. Unfortunately, too, our interception numbers probably the lowest they've been in this rebuild. Yeah, maybe just quarterbacks aren't playing good. Like, Shough had a solid year, still enough to get the MVP shortlist. And again, we just runner-up for every award. Canty, that's pretty harsh, I think. No award winners. Shough comes third in quarterback of the year in the conference. But I do think it is kind of cool. We talked about year one. Shough barely played, still had the rookie record, single season. But Canty gets the Saints single season record for sacks for a rookie. We're playing the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs, and if you're pulling like the top 3 teams you don't want to see in the NFC side from an annoying standpoint, post-update, it's probably Green Bay, New York, and Philly. I would probably put in the bubble. So not an easy role here, but it is a home team for us at a great home field advantage at the Superdome. I think we can win. But it's going to be tough. I am not a Jordan Love believer, so I like to think that we could get a chance here. And that doesn't mean I don't like Jordan Love. Just people talk about Jordan Love like he's pretty much Dak Prescott. He's closer to Dak Prescott than he is like an MVP guy. I don't want to be a hater. I think, I was a fan of Jordan Love coming out of Utah State. But, he gets gassed up maybe a little bit more than he needs to. So I'd like in this moment, Shough to get one over. And we are going to overtime. Opening drive overtime. We get a stop. We need a field goal to move on, and we are. That is probably the biggest domino that we can drop from our side of the bracket against Green Bay. If you could beat Green Bay, you could beat probably any team en route to a Super Bowl from the NFC side. And Tyler Shough, when we needed it most in overtime, orchestrates a hell of a drive to go win that one. I don't know if we actually just kicked that field goal on 4th and 44. I don't know what the hell happened there. But where Jordan Love threw the turnover, Tyler Shough protected the football. Solid game. Not, had a rushing touchdown, which you love to see. The rookie popped off. Olave with a decent performance defensively. Canty, the rookie nose. We might as well just call him a D tackle. He's not a nose tackle. He's getting double-digit sacks or anything like that. To shout out the Cookie Monster, Alante Taylor, play they were trying to upgrade on. Ends up a starter this year. 8 tackles and an INT. That's huge. And in the division round, we get a rematch. Exact same scenario as it was a year ago. The Detroit Lions on the road. Wasn't particularly close, and they are such a good team. 90 overall. Anytime a sim team can build a team like that, you got to respect it. 91 rated offense, too, on top of that. Damn. This could be tough. But push comes to shove. I think Shough can make the right plays. I think we can get some turnovers on Mr. Jared Goff. 7-7 ball game. Very evenly matched so far. Looks like Detroit's about to get the go-ahead. Only a field goal. Come on, boys. Let's go. 2 touchdowns. We ain't settling for field goals. Except right there we did. Oh, baby. No. No, why did we punt it? Okay, we got a chance. I mean, you know what? They're so fucking good. I'm coming in. I'm going to try to get us a first down here. There's no reason for them to be that good. So let's see if I can just help them get 1 first down, and then the rest of the drive would be on them. Slant to Trades Green, as much as Jack Campbell is. Or should we just go underneath? Pick up a block. Olave breaks an ankle. There we go, boys. Rest is on you. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. If not, it's not meant to be. Overtime. Hell of a job, man. Tyler Shough getting the job. We get the ball first, though, which means puts a lot of pressure. We have to at least kick a field goal. There can't be a punt, and we punted it. Awesome. Well, that's, that's the mercy of the sim. No one should ever punt in overtime, ever, unless it's 4th and 20 on your own 5. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Well, we got an issue here. Detroit has kind of built a god squad in this rebuild, and we've ran into them twice. And I mean, that one there was close. But You know, we got to view this through the lens of evaluating Tyler Shough, and I think he's been. We've put ourselves in a hole where there's probably no way we can upgrade the quarterback position over him. And if we're being honest, it hasn't really been his fault why we haven't got over the hump. And, you know, our run game has completely disappeared in all these playoff games. Shadow Green and Olave there. Our defense has played fine. Like, we got sacks. Canty is just an animal. You know, I think we're just at the mercy of, like, we're good. Freaking the Lions are insanely good. So even with the Shough contract that we got to figure out, we're still going to have a lot of salary cap. And we're going to make a move. Be it free agency, I'll say fuck it and we'll make a trade. We will figure it out. Looking at our roster in closing, I don't really know if we should expect any dev traits or not. Offensively, no. Pretty good. It's actually kind of insane how Tyler Shough has just all throughout this whole rebuild has had like insane boosts. Double like that. You're not going to get a bigger boost than that. +6 morale, +6 from our coaches. Like just look at that. +10D, +11 medium. I mean, we'll take it. This is how you have to do this real. If you were going to rebuild this team and say, you know what, I'm a Saints fan, I want to see if we can do it with Shough, you're going to need to help him out. He starts as a freaking 20. You're going to start, if you start today, he'll be a 26 normal dev quarterback. You got to pull in all the stops. And I think we've done as much as we can to give him a shot here. Defensively, from a dev trait, how did Canty not go up fucking dev trait? That is brutal. Everyone else's dev traits remains the same. And with Hunter only on a 1 year, we're going to be going into the offseason. We need an edge rusher. Big time. And then anywhere else, it's probably BPA. But I think if we have to go and say, fuck it, man, we're making a big time trade, I think we could go try to find a win now edge rusher. All right, so we got Sanker. I actually forgot about that contract, not that one walk. $108 million to get it, but he's arguably been our best player on the defensive side of the ball, most consistent player on the defensive side of the ball. We'll decline the contract on Uiagalelei in case we don't win the Super Bowl and we have to come back and rebuild. Hasn't really justified a contract extension yet, but he's been also solid. He's been a guy that's like flirting with double-digit sacks, just hasn't been that premier pass rusher. I'm honestly thinking, like, what do you think the franchise tag for Shough's going to be? Like, if we offer him this, right, this is the plan. Like, there's no way that tag's going to be much more than 50, right? 70! Fuck! Got to do it. Unfortunately, we have to do that. Oh, now we have no salary cap. God damn it. But also, we have to kind of do that. I don't want to be tied into it. If we don't win a Super Bowl next year, for 2 more years after that with like $40 million cap hit. So we'll be fine. Free agency, we need an edge rusher. And one does not exist. 85 on Cooper's fine. Daniil Hunter's, of course, up there. So that's all we need. We get one pass rusher. You know, yes, Amon-Ra's there. If there was interest and we could get, like, not have to overpay and get in a pissing match with other teams, I'd maybe consider it. Milton Williams is actually, you know, a nice player for sure. It's not a brutal final free agency class, but for us, you know, we gotta go hunting here. Which also means $30 million. We're probably got to restructure and free up about $50 million. All right, who can we pick from? Honestly, I will start with the Steelers. You know who could still be there. Steelers, Panthers, Dolphins, Colts, Bears, Titans, Niners. Probably worth calling these guys, seeing what's up. Well, so the Bears might have the worst edge rush situation in the NFL, so we're good there. The Colts, not really a needle mover. The Dolphins got Dallas Turner, and yeah, again, no, we're good. So the worst team in the NFL is ready to hit a reset. We have the 49ers, who have the number 1 overall pick. We have Nick Bosa, 98. I'm fine selling off the draft this year. Like, we need one edge rusher. First, second, third round edge rusher. We're not going to get anything close to Bosa. So I have no problem in this late round pick, right? We made the playoffs. We did, however, have to throw in a 2 and a 3 next year. So if we don't win the rebuild here in year 5 and we come back to rebuild it, I'm probably pretty pissed off when I only have one good pick next year. The tricky part came with finding that last little bit. Niners were really, really picky with what they needed here. Threw a bunch of different player options in, and then I ultimately decided with one of our success stories. We have Jordan Brooks. 88, but the reality is the last couple years, he's just kind of put up placeholder numbers. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Now, we have Hollywood Smothers, who we drafted, who's almost an 80. We might be able to just target a running back and potentially trade up for a running back. We can find one that falls maybe in that 3rd round range. You never know. But I feel like Smothers, we might give up. You know, if Brooks is 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's kind of been his average over the last 3 years. I feel like at worst we could probably get 900 to 1,000. Like, we might be 100 yards or so short, maybe a touchdown or 2 short from our starting running back. But what we should get from Nick Bosa rushing the passer, I think this is going to work out. So with our 3 additional focus scouting, I just looked at the top 3 running backs to see if there's a trade-up scenario. There's not much there. So I do think we're going to have to, like, kind of look through the weeds, maybe try to see if we can find, like, a dev trait guy. Really, we're just going to be BPA. Try to find the cheesy steals with our limited picks this year. I'm now going to look at gift horse in the mouth. We have Jason Metcalf. We needed a nickel last year, couldn't find one. Day 3 projection, B-man, B-catch, C-press, A-zone coverage. Now, not a perfect scheme fit, but 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle first, bench press first, elite agility. Yeah, this is going to be probably a top 20 player. Fall into our lap in the 4th round. He's number 12 in true value, pick 123, and we got a dev trade. Running back, we're just going to go with the fastest guy, the most athletic guy, kind of by a considerable amount that I've seen outside of really the top 3 running backs. Julius Davis, 3rd in the 40-yard dash, top 3 in the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Now, doesn't have elites. Would have loved seeing at least like an elite acceleration, elite agility, or an elite speed, but feel pretty good that this is going to be maybe dev trait, no great rating, top. Get the dev trade. I mean, that actually might not be 59. That could be like 72, 73, depending on the strength of the class. That could actually be insane. Oh, really? Another one of these guys? Yeah, we'll take the 40-plus rep, insane acceleration, insane 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, D-tackle. Every day of the week. We have limited picks. We got to use the cheese to our advantage. So we got Nick Bosa with our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick. And then outside of that, you're not going to see a better end. We have Jeff Russell blocking fullback. We're going to have to go with run game. Let's not get, this guy had a lead block, a run block. No depth trade or anything like that. Like, not an insane pick. There's been, I don't know how many times we've actually wanted to get a fullback. If you look hard enough, you can find dev trait ones, and usually when they have a dev trait, they're superstar. But from a base rating standpoint, yeah, 90 lead block. That may be the highest lead block I have seen. So that's, that should help out a run game with obviously the downgrade that we had to get the Bosa trade. Morales, again, we're never going to take victory laps getting a nose tackle cheese. But Davis, 73 dev trait running back. Now it's receiving back. He's not a scheme fit perfectly, but the fact that it's pretty much a toss-up, that certainly helps. That is an awesome selection right there. That might be one of the better. And that was a UDFA grade guy. Like, we need this guy in the Eddies, the undraftables. That's the kind of running back we need, or just general prospect we need. And then the corner was just an obvious, anybody, not just I'm no different. That was clearly the best player available. Should not have been there. We'll take him if no one else wants to. 83 A-zone coverage for a rookie to go with that speed. Couldn't care less that he's not a scheme fit. That's a hell of a pick. As it relates to the rest, just out of curiosity, were there any? Ooh, well, then, congrats to them. San Fran goes out, gets an 83, generational tackle with our 1st round pick. They also, they're just going the trenches. Holy shit. I guess if you want to run the football, you get Jordan Brooks, and then you get 2 freaking, are they both X Factors? Peralta, 80, they probably are. They're probably, at least, superstars anyways. The Niners, with the 1st pick, they get a superstar tackle. Congrats on that. And then with the pick we gave them for Bosa, as they hit a reset, they get Kenyon Buchanan, another 80-plus rated lineman with a, well, okay. I don't know. No one's going to be complaining about that draft. Honestly, this draft, 70, that makes me feel pretty bad about my draft. I thought we had an insane draft for our limited draft capital. Well, it can always be better. I'm just going to highlight, we always, sometimes I was sneaking the meme of me not getting gold medal during this quarterback drill. It's been something over the last 2 rebuilds. I've got it every year with Tyler Shough. He is, without a doubt, all the quarterbacks. I've done it with Mahomes. I've done it with Josh Allen. The best pocket present quarterback I've ever had in my life since it's been in game has 100% been Tyler Shough. I've got gold medal every time. Ooh, nice upgrade there. We get a +2 to his. He goes from an 81 up to an 83. I mean, nothing crazy. All fairly solid upgrades, but there's the best. I don't think if you do a Saints rebuild, you're going to get a better version of Tyler Shough staying with Kellen Moore's offense. So here we go, year 5 Super Bowl or bust situation. It has been a minute since we've taken an L on a rebuild. I do not want it to continue because I'm not being. I don't really. I mean, we have Shough on a franchise tag. I think if we extended Shough, I wouldn't really want to come back to this rebuild. I think if it doesn't work, we're gonna have just pretty much go find a quarterback. But then we're gonna have to go find a quarterback with no great picks because we made the trade for on the defensive side of the ball. But we took a little bit of a downgrade, a risk in our running game, which I think should still be fine. Our O-line's outstanding. We have great skill position players. I love to see, one of those years where Booty and Olave go over 1,000 yards each. That'd be pretty cool. But we made the big swing. Our pass rush situation was not great. When when your nose tackle is leading the team in sacks, you got to go do something. You got to be aggressive. Going out, getting Nick Bosa. I mean, I'm going to be honest. For what it took to give him up, I need like 15 sacks. I need to see, doesn't have to win Defensive Player of the Year or anything. Or him and Uiagalelei kind of play off one another, and we still get like our sacks from Breezy and Canty, and then they both get like just low double digits. That's what we need to see. There is not a weakness to this team. This is an outstanding team. This is certainly a team worthy of going and winning a Super Bowl. And it'd be pretty cool to get that one done with Tyler Shough. But if it isn't meant to be, I've done everything I can to try to, with this collective, with this idea that is our quarterback, Kellen Moore's our coach. You can't do much more, I don't think. We've drafted incredibly well as well. So mid-season, we're looking fine. 4-2. Kind of feels like we've beat the teams we're supposed to beat. Then we go against like Patriots playoff caliber teams. Not going as great. From a team standpoint, we have $92 million of salary cap. I don't think I'm really going to re-sign anybody just right now. Because, I mean, I don't know. I think I want to come, if we have to come back and rebuild this team, I'm going to want to kind of choose the direction in the moment there. So we're going to let everybody go in a contract year. And, I mean, absolutely, with our money, we can re-sign a couple guys. I would assume, like, you'd probably want to keep Perkins. We'll see how Uiagalelei plays, but it's great that, like, that contract isn't insane, and there's a lot of interest there, so we wouldn't have to overpay. If we don't win, we're probably going to move off Shough. Probably going to move off Hickman. Breezy's been good. He's kind of caught on a little bit, so there could be a contract handed out there. But, yeah, again, we'll wait in case we have to come back and return at some point. At the end of the year, Julius Davis at running back, just barely. It's not great, but I was like, can we get at least 1,000? He does get 1,000. We get the insane cheesy XP, 27K, which gives us 6 upgrade points. Very nice. Very well done, Mr. Davis, who he was a hidden dev just to start. It's fine. I'm not going to get greedy. That was a UDFA projected player. And at the end of the year, we give ourselves the best. And I love, look at that. You get Bosa. One of the best defenses in the league. We trade our running back. Top 10 rushing offense still. The 1-2 punch, him and Smothers. Great job there. Passing offense, you love, with Tyler Shough kind of being the face of the rebuild. You'd love to say we get the #1 passing offense with Shough, but I'll take 12 and I'll take the #1 scoring offense. That means 2 out of the 5 years we've had a top 2 scoring offense. I think we were #2 back in year 3. So a Kellen Moore offense can work, which is good because that's also the offense we're using with our Yetis franchise. Looking at the stats here, Shough was, pretty damn good. 12th in yards, fine. 2nd in touchdowns, 38 touchdowns to 9 picks. Okay, that's still weird, man. I think generally the quarterback play in this rebuild has not been great. Like 38 is not usually, that's top 5, not #2. But I'm not going to complain. I'll take that every day of the week. 38 touchdowns. We got our 1,000 yards. Smothers, that was a great 1-2 punch. Was a gamble getting rid of Brooks. We survived. We did not get 2,000-yard receivers, which our offense is capable of, but 9 touchdowns to Green, 9 touchdowns to Booty, 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns for Olave. It's been incredible in this rebuild. I love to see that. Defensively, I guess the Saints don't get sacks. Well, we played good. You know what I'm saying? We did the box score isn't crazy, right? You definitely, I said I want to see 15 from Bosa. We get half of that. But everything defensively, points allowed, yards allowed, very, very good. So it's a collective, and we were getting off the field a lot of 3-and-outs, and I am going to pivot from a disappointment at 7.5 sacks and act like Bosa's a reason why, as a collective, this defense was one of the best in the NFL. Tyler Shough gets his best MVP voting at number 7. How did we not get Coach of the Year? We've just got robbed this whole rebuild. Yeah, of course. Second place again for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Of course, in a contract year, Shough gets Quarterback of the Year. So that likely is going to be a superstar dev for him and give us a hell of a decision if we have to come back to this rebuild at a later date. We also got Danny Stutzman winning Linebacker of the Year with Harold Perkins, who's in a contract year, coming in at number 3. And Charlie Smith gets Kicker of the Year. So we do get a couple award winners here as we get to kick our feet up and await our opponent in the divisional round. So while we do that, let's take a look at our player stats and what they've been able to accomplish in this rebuild through 5 seasons. We're just under 18,000 total passing yards for Shough, 140 touchdowns for 41 picks. He's been solid. I feel like solid would be the most appropriate until this year. Obviously, if you get second in touchdowns, you get Quarterback of the Year. That is much more than a solid campaign. He's been on the MVP shortlist. Again, like number 9 and number 10 for the most part. But if the argument is, can you win a Super Bowl with Shough and the Saints, I think we've been close enough that you could say, yes, you can. Maybe we haven't got the good roll. We've ran into a freaking God Squad Lions team back-to-back years. I think you get a little bit better roll. You absolutely could see this one through, and I hope we can get it here in year 5. Obviously, our run game took a little bit of a hit with the trade of Brooks, but that was excellent business too. Always look for that, man. If the Panthers are going to be somewhat consistently releasing Jonathan Brooks because they have a crowded backfield, go get him. Very good. Receiving, we're just under 9,000 receiving yards, 71 touchdowns for Olave. He's been awesome. The trade to get Kayshon Boutte worked out. I mean, he's been, 900 to 1,000 yards every year. Drafting Green as an X factor, very nice, worked out well. Tackles, Stutzman, Linebacker of the Year this year. Over 600 tackles, 23 TFLs, 12.5 sacks, 11 picks. He's been very productive. On the defensive side of the ball, Brzee with 40.5 sacks, kind of turned his career around a little bit. Uiagalelei, I think if I can go back in hindsight, I might have changed his pick a little bit. Because he's just been solid, not necessarily a game changer. And when you're drafting an edge rusher in the top 5, you kind of need them to be a game changer. The INTs have been great in this rebuild, though. Something I'm definitely leaving this rebuild with is that if we ever just, for whatever reason, very, very much focusing in and trying to chase turnovers in the secondary, Saints playbook can get the job done. 13 picks, Sanker, Kool-Aid with 13, Stutzman with 11, Hickman with 9, Perkins with 8, Riley, who got that X factor way back in year 2, super bizarre, also with 8 INTs. Over the divisional round, we get a nice little battle here. I mean, our team is so much better. We got to win. We get the Atlanta Falcons. The Detroit Lions didn't even make the playoffs, so that certainly helps. But the Giants are there, and they're as big of a pain in the ass as you can run into. Looking at the other side, unless my webcam's blocking it, Kansas City also did not make the playoffs, so I'd say as long as we don't run into the Giants, very favorable for us all the way to the Super Bowl. For the Saints, we got a little bit of a streak going. We've made the playoffs 3 straight years, and we've at least won our first game. So we should, if history plays a part, if honestly team ratings play a part, we should be in the AFC Championship game. But you never know. Atlanta could be a pain in the ass, could be tricky. It's a rivalry game. You never know. I don't know the fact that 2 good drives, we only have field goals to show for it. Atlanta has 1 good drive, and they're leading going into the second half. Come on, touchdowns. There we go. Nice little insurance there. Defense playing real well. This is where you need to see, and you look at the box score. Nick Bosa has 3-4 sacks, takes the game over, gets nuclear on this playoff run. But this is a game that, honestly, through every measurement, we had to win. And we belt ass them a little bit, which always feels good against a divisional rival. 31-7. The Saints and Tyler Shough down Bijan Robinson and the Falcons. And, did not play particularly well. Certainly not a game that we could say we won because of Shough. But, 245, 1 touchdown, no picks. Had a rushing touchdown as well. Shout out Cassis. Defensively, what do we got? Uiagalelei, 2 sacks, sack and a half. Nick Bo. There we go. That pass rush is going to show up and be huge on this playoff run. And it was pretty obvious as soon as I saw the schedule. We would be playing the Giants in the NFC Championship game. Not as God squad numbers as I've seen. Usually Giants have a lot of green in their rankings, but a top 5 offense, top 5 rushing offense, top 5 rushing defense, almost top 10 passing offense. We are the better team in every category. This is going to be a very tricky game. But we are the home team. The Superdome is packed to the rafters. And they are ready to see Tyler Shough and Nick Bosa bring this team another Lombardi. But it is going to be a very tough matchup here against the Giants. Ooh, Kool-Aid McKinstry gets a pick. We can't get a 2-for-1. We scored 10 straight, which helps. Ooh, another turnover. Bosa! Nick Bosa had a pick. Oh, come on. Put this one away, boys. Oh, they're going to make it close, aren't they? Oh, no, we killed the game off. Okay. Defense, defense, defense. I'm so glad we made a decision this year because free agent was so bad that, like, yes, it's realistic, but, like, there comes a certain point when you have $1 billion of cap. Like, let's make a trade. That's realistic, man. Some of these teams swing for the fences. The Packers trade for Micah Parsons, right? We see it all the time. And in this matchup, look at that. Dante Moore. Again, that's something that's actually pissing me off a little bit, is that the Giants, for whatever reason, give up on Jackson Dart, like, right away in these rebuilds. Don't know what's going on there, but look at the defense. We forced 3 INTs on Dante Moore. Shough with one of his best games. 76% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Run game non-existent. That's another reason why, too, to get rid of Brooks. You know, we've played 4 playoff games with Brooks. Every single game, he had at the most like 30, 40 yards, no touchdowns. So, making that move to get Bosa. Let's see what we got here out of Bosa. We got sack and an INT from Nick Bosa. Uiagalelei with a sack. Perkins with a pick. Kool-Aid with a pick. Defense is on fire. Offense is doing what it needs to do. That is a winning combination to win one more game, get a check mark on this rebuild, and finish with Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints. And we're in like someone else's rebuild. How in the hell are the Jets? 2 teams, 2 lowly teams. Whoa. They got Lenore Sellers and they brought back Quinnen Williams. Okay. What the fuck? I taking a quick peek. Lenore Sellers has developed in quite the pocket passer. I mean, similar production as Shough. I'll give them an advantage in the backfield. Breece Hall, Jonah Coleman, and Sellers. No 1,000-yard receivers. But they still got Garrett Wilson. They got Cole Kmet, Dontavian Wicks. They have this guy, Darius Freeman. Looks pretty good. Defensively, Sherwood, Cisco. They got Cooper DeJean in free agency. They drafted this guy, Gatewood, a superstar at Ost. Okay. That guy looks pretty terrifying, knowing that Quinnen Williams is also there. They got Nolan Smith. They're the team that beat us out for Nolan Smith's signature a couple off seasons ago. Okay. Shit. We got a work cut out for us. But ultimately, tail of the tape, talent wins. We have rebuilt the Jets. One of the worst schemes going. That's good to know. That I guess they can play like that. But ultimately, that is an ass scheme. That I remember how ass it was. We're very close talent-wise. Our scheme's better. Come on, Kellen Moore. All right, I guess we are due for a Super Bowl L. Not just just a rebuild L. It's been a minute. I also just want to refuse to believe that the Jets scheme can get them to a Super Bowl without. Maybe we have coach firing on, so maybe they did that and completely changed their scheme. But we need that guy to show up there. Tyler Shough going against Lenore Sellers and the New York Jets. Both defenses starting out hot. First, Huddy goes to the good guys, but it does look like it's gonna be a low-scoring game. This is where you need the ballsy trade to bring Nick Bosa to town, to shore up the defense and get this one over the goddamn line. Kind of going back and forth. We need some points, man. We can't just... A 7-point lead is nothing. They're going to score here. All momentum going with the Jets. We get an instant score, though. Okay, 21-21. Oh, what? The fuck happened there? We had like a 10-minute drive, and it literally looked like we were in the red zone and didn't take a field goal. All right, here in overtime, we got a 3rd and 7. Oh, we're going to lose. I mean, that's a hell of a punt. Oh, we're trading punts, but now we got to go 93 yards to get in a field goal range. Boom, shot play. Olave, 28. Boom, another shot play. Cassis for 25. We're in field goal range. Sucks. Okay, we got a sack. Quentin Williams sack. Why the hell is he back with the Jets? No! Punt! It's fucking gross, man. That is fucking gross. We deserve it now. We're at that streak where it's like, fuck, are we just going to win a Super Bowl every time? But that is gross. You attempt to punt it. Our kicker is good from 60. But if I would have hopped in and just made that kick, it would have been bullshit, right? It would have went down, big asterisk. You know, we got to lose the Super Bowl and have L rebuilds every now and again to appreciate that sometimes takes a little bit of skill, a little bit of luck. Fuck, man. What? That we stole, you know, defeat from the jaws of victory, I guess is the fairest way. Like, Shough played well. Wasn't his fault. He's probably going to go through a super... I'm not looking forward to coming back to this rebuild. I'll tell you that right now. Booty went off. Where the fuck's our defense, right? Paid Bosa. Where'd you go? What? 6 tackles? Nothing. Has Bosa ever played good in the playoffs, though? Like, I feel like he's never really... A lot of playoff games with the Niners. Fuck, man. Fuck! I'm in a pissed off mood. I gotta go in an hour to a Christmas concert, and I'm gonna be thinking... Fucking Bosa, man. Couldn't give me 1 sack? And look, we didn't even get a dev trade for Shough getting offensive quarterback of the year. Passer rating leader, quarterback of the year. I mean, that's just... In hindsight, should we have gone a different direction at quarterback? Probably. Well, the fact Bosa loses dev trait, Sanker loses dev trait. I don't know. Maybe I should be optimistic to come back and revisit this rebuild, but my vibes right now are like, fuck this, you know? I don't know. A little pissed off. But yeah, most requested rebuild. Here's your Saints rebuild. We went with Shough. It's like, my reason why I don't want to come back to this rebuild is like, I feel like, let's just redo this and not go with Shough. Maybe that would work. But then also... I can't believe we lost that Super Bowl. But, can't get too pissed off. We literally haven't lost it. Let's see, we got 1 Chiefs Super Bowl, Steelers Super Bowl, Eagles Super Bowl, Lions Super Bowl, Falcons Super Bowl, Browns Super Bowl. The Commanders was our last L. So we were on a very good streak. It was like a month. So I guess we were due. So yeah, that'll do it for me today, guys. Let me know in the comment section below which team you want to see rebuilt next. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Tried my best to win it with Tyler Shough. Again, I think within the context of you keep Kellen Moore, you keep Shough, I don't think you could rebuild a team better than what we did here today. So I hope you enjoyed it. If that's something you wanted to see. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Till next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.